Alright, welcome back, fitness and self-improvement fans, to Rob Merlin Fit, whose mission statement now is to motivate, inspirate, and educate. And you're probably thinking, is inspirate a word? Just go with me on this. Do not break session and go Google it. Just, you know what I'm trying to do with it. So after learning that the average attention span of the internet's about 3 minutes, I'm going to try and break up these videos, keep them short and sweet. Instead of having a big long one, break them down into little smaller pieces and chunks and spoon feed it out there and see how you guys like it. Do a little bit of A/B testing, see how it responds. So, what do I want to do with this one? I want to go back in time a little bit. I want to go back to end of February 2017 for my first competition that I did after returning to Canada into the ABBA Association, which is basically like the NPC down in the US, which I'd competed at before. This was my 10th show, and this one was exclusively classic physique. They don't allow crossovers here for some reason, so I just went with that one. So what we got coming up right now is my posing routine from the ABBA Winter Open. So you guys ready for it? Do you want to see it?
Of course!
Alright, let's do this. And stick around after and I'll tell a little bit of the history leading up to the show if you guys want to hear a bit about that.
Sound good?
Yes, sir!
That's what I like to hear.
So just a couple real high-level details about the show leading in. I'm going to keep this video super short, like I said. I'm breaking this into 3. There's just the posing routine, then I'm also going to have the actual competition, the mandatory poses, and then third, the finish. I'll talk a little bit during each video as I go. This one I just want to kind of explain where I was at, how I got ready for the show real quick. So it was a 12-week prep. I started the prep weighing around like 216 or so. I ended up going on stage at 202. So the big problem for me was this was my 10th show, but up until then, and including the show, I'd never hired a coach. I'd always done everything on my own, and I really wasn't mastering peak week or coming in as good as I should have. For this show, I think I worked a little too hard, dieted a little too hard leading up to it, and I probably peaked a little too early and then couldn't hold it all the way through going into the show, and thusly kind of came in flat. So we'll get into it later as I got ready for this show. I did qualify for provincials, so then I participated in that in June, and I hired a coach for that. So you'll get to meet him eventually. He's a great guy. His name's Chad. He'll put his link or his Instagram right here, and also, he got me looking the best I've ever looked for any show. So definitely he's got a lot of insight, and he can kind of share the story, and we'll come together and share that story about provincials, and I'll also show like the changes I made from a show basically beginning of March to June, so maybe 3 or 4 months apart, and really how much I looked better for my second show, how much my posing improved, and basically my conditioning and dryness. And the funny thing was, I looked bigger, and I only weighed 198 at provincials. One of the crazy things. So stay tuned and come back if you want to see more about my Alberta Winter Open, this show. You can watch the mandatories and watch the placings and see how I fared. So thanks again for watching, and if you want to be motivated, inspired, and educated again, come back in a few days. Thanks. I'll see ya.